Half Shell Oyster House offers happy hour at the bar and throughout the restaurant every day from 3 to 6 p.m. Happy hour includes $2 off all glasses of wine, liquor, martinis, mixed drinks, and draft beer, $2.50 on all domestic bottled beer, and $3.50 on all craft bottled beer. So come on out to Half Shell Oyster House, located at 115 Lower Park Cove, Suite 105, Flowood, Mississippi 39232, or you can give them a call at 769-257-7586. And hey, tell them Sonia sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
It's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports and our new segment, Kelsey's Corner. Please welcome back award-winning journalist and host of Listen In With KNN, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Hey, Kelsey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited and delighted to be talking a little bit of sports on Kelsey's Corner.
I know, I love it. Isn't that cute? So it was so great meeting you. Going on 2 weeks now. We
in person.
Yeah, we met and talked on the phone, but we finally met in person, had lunch, and it was really nice meeting you. And of course, talking to your parents. They are a hoot. I love them so much.
I get it from them.
I know. Happy anniversary again, guys. Happy anniversary.
Oh, they will so appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it, girls. So as you know, football season is back.
Even though it's here. I'm trying to hide the bag, Sonia.
I know. Right? Even though it's like 100 degrees everywhere, it doesn't seem like football season, but it is football season. We're in our preseason games, and I was just wondering, what highlights that the Commanders, because that's your team, so we'll just talk about them.
Well, team I cover. I'm a Maryland girl, Sonia, I'm a Ravens girl by heart and nature, but it's been. It's funny because, you talk about things being hot. Well, it's been busy here in the DMV and Baltimore because things have actually been getting chippy as of late with the Commanders after their first preseason game practicing with Baltimore. So both teams are jointly practicing in Owens Mills, Maryland right now, which is the facility of the Baltimore Ravens. Now, for 2 days in a row, we've had viral videos, Sonia, of the teams getting at each other. Getting the best of each other, yesterday, or the first day was, Emmanuel Forbes, who of course, Mississippi guy, first round pick for the Commanders, getting into it with Wallace, one of the receivers for Baltimore. Then we saw Mark Andrews, the tight end for Baltimore, throwing down Danny Johnson. Like these two teams, and it's funny because these are two teams that don't meet often. When they do, we love it. We call it Battle of the Beltway. DC and Baltimore, very different cities, but it's something personal when those two teams come together. But, you look at two teams that both won their preseason games. Sam Howell, of course, was the big story, Sonia, for the Commanders, went 9-12. And you look at his 3 incompletions, it wasn't bad. Like one, 2 had to be throwaways, and then 1 was actually a drop. So you think about his decision-making, which has been getting praise from Ron Rivera, just his control, of the offense, how he controls the clock. Getting a lot of praise, a lot of upside. And you have to remember, this is a Commanders team, Sonia, that, we're in 2023. And since 1999, when Dan Snyder first bought the team, to the time that Carson Wentz stepped on the field, we're talking about 25 starting quarterbacks. So this is a team, and you think about even now, after Carson Wentz now, right? We're almost at 30 quarterbacks, y'all, in 24 years. That's crazy when you think about it. So Washington has obviously been looking for some stability in that quarterback position. Folks are hoping it's Sam Howell. He has already some chemistry with Diami Brown from college. Actually kind of where he partly got noticed by the Commanders team. He had a great touchdown in the game, 26-yarder to Jahan Dotson. And also in practice had another great ball. So it's great to see him having some chemistry with Dotson, probably one of the young studs on that Commanders team. So very exciting to see. And then on the other end for Baltimore, though we of course didn't get to see Lamar Jackson start, Baltimore, I think, it's a backup quarterback battle, so you have Anthony Brown, that third string, and then Snoop Huntley, who we've got to see a lot of, who was really just a bad play away last season, Sonia, of getting the Ravens to that next round of the playoffs. Had that 99-yard run back not happen if he hadn't tried to hop over the pile. But some good stuff from Baltimore. It was a scary one for Baltimore. They just did beat the Eagles in the preseason game. Baltimore has something riding high. They're on a 24-game preseason win streak, if that means anything to anybody out there. So, fighting to kind of keep that record alive. It goes back to 2015, Sonia, which is actually crazy, when you think about it. But there's a winning culture in mind in Baltimore. Obviously, really wanted to expand the offense in Baltimore. But I think Baltimore kind of stayed true to who they are. They had a great run game in the preseason, over 100 yards with their leading rushers, Gus Bus, and Baltimore's leading rusher. So all in all, I think Baltimore in the preseason game kind of stayed true to who they are. I'm worried about Baltimore, though, Sonia, because I think their secondary got exposed a bit. And then the new news coming out of Baltimore this week is that they'll be without starting cornerback Marlon Humphrey for a little while. So that puts Baltimore really thin at the secondary. And if you look at some of Baltimore's mistakes last season, it was in that secondary position. I remember specifically that Dolphins-Baltimore game where the Miami Dolphins were able to bounce back. Why? Because they exposed the secondary, injury depleted. I say all this to say Baltimore, they worry me when we're riding so high about the offense. Baltimore's strength for a long time has been that defense. A strong secondary has been that defense. That's why we love the ball hawk, Ed Reed and who he was. So all in all to say, I think Baltimore, this is going to be very telling for them. I love the matchup. I love that they're practicing with the Commanders. I know we won't see the starters, but it's actually a good test for Baltimore's secondary because the Commanders have, studs and Terry McLaurin. This is going to be a Monday night game. And Terry McLaurin, I talked about Doxson, Samuels, they have all the studs that I think the Ravens defense needs to really give it a test out to see if their secondary can hopefully step up and compete. So all in all, it's been fun in Baltimore. It's been a little chippy here. So I wouldn't be surprised if something breaks out Monday night. The teams have been going at it. The fans have been going at it. But this is I think what you want to see, especially for our Commanders team. I think that's trying to reestablish an identity with new ownership, with Eric Bieniemy there. And I think they're trying to really find out who they are. And let's remember last Sonia that this is a Commanders team that kind of got called soft by many after reports came out from Ron Rivera that some players thought Eric Bieniemy was going a little bit too hard on that offense. I think this is a Commanders team that also is trying to show they have some fight and some dog in them because those reports just didn't look good for this offense.
Right. Well, they looked pretty good last season, and just in certain areas, me and the guys, we talked about them quite a bit. Always was wanting a little bit more from Commander. It was like something was missing. So maybe this season, we'll see what's going on. And then the Ravens, apparently their secondary is being exposed. So they got to get it.
It's going to be some tough sledding. It's a next man up mentality for Baltimore, So you have to hope the next man is ready. And then the Commanders, I'll just say too, I know Carson Wentz got a lot of flack last season, but the Commanders had one of the most inconsistent offensive lines. They didn't have any stability, consistency there. So, and I think when you look at the best teams, especially in the NFC, Sonia, when you look at the Cowboys, who's been 12-5 the last 2 seasons, when you look at the Eagles, they've had stability, they've had goodness on that offensive line. Look how big it was for Dallas, right? Re-signing Zach Martin. I just think when you look at these teams and you look at a good quarterback, just remember an offensive line is pertinent. Let's remember that's part of Joe Burrow's story, not coming into the league with a good offensive line. If you really want a good quarterback, you need a good offensive line to protect them as well. And especially for the Commanders, when you have a young quarterback that's going to be exposed to a lot in the NFL, you're going to want to protect him. So have to hope that play steps up this season.
That's true. Well, we will see. Hopefully both teams not when the Commanders play Dallas. That's my secondary team. My Bears. So Dallas. So that's my team. But okay, well, good stuff. So Kelsey, earlier this week, Sage Steele and ESPN announced that they were parting ways after 16 years, and the lawsuit was settled. That she filed a lawsuit, and it was settled between ESPN and Disney. So tell us a little about that. What's going on with that? And what was the lawsuit about?
Yeah, so there's a lot happening with the Sage Steele story. Yes. Obviously, a lot of people have personal opinions. A lot of it dates back to, though, the COVID-19 pandemic, which all of us obviously probably still top of our minds. I think many of us still can't believe that we lived through a pandemic. There was different stuff going out about the vaccines. Again, we have First Amendment rights, but I think people have to remember the First Amendment rights is for the government protection of free speech. I think people have to remember when you work for a company, that's a private entity most of the time. So this is why it's very important, folks, to understand the law. But all in all, she had some opinions, about that. She's expressed them. Basically, she felt like she kind of got like ESPN wasn't treating her fairly because she felt like she didn't have an opinion of the majority there. So obviously, ESPN has a lot of folks that are more not right wing, right, and more obviously kind of on the preventative side, saying, "Hey, like folks, like get the COVID-19 vaccine. Let's protect each other. Right. I'm doing this, not just for me but for you." And that was the message that was coming from a lot of folks. Which I think overall was what the government was pushing, which most people were pushing. But of course, there were some people who, even so, let's be honest, those to this day have conspiracy theories about COVID-19 vaccine and what it does, and if it was it's just crazy stuff. So all in all, there's been a really fractured relationship. We've seen less of Sage Steele. So probably if you were watching ESPN, you noticed she's only really giving up, well, as of late, before she left, was only really giving updates, on Sports Center. She used to be an NBA Countdown host. Yes. But she used to be, if you really watch, ESPN, she was a staple, yes, let's be honest, of their coverage. She was it. She was the it girl. Like she said, she's been there 16 years. Some people I would say, I'll just be honest, a lot of Black people have mixed feelings about Sage. She's one that identifies as biracial, which I think she has the complete right to. You have two parents of a different background, again, who, how you identify is how you identify. Especially in today's world, we see, right, kind of the rights that we have for people to be able to self-identify. But that also pull people back from her. She, infamously let somebody put their fingers in her hair, Sonia, and Black culture, Black women, I think we can both speak to. That's a no. Don't even get close for many of us. But again, that's right, how the culture we were raised. And then just some of her opinions, again, just very inconsistent, kind of with some of the progressive attitudes that we've had, and that ESPN is pushing. Remember, because ESPN is a company that has spoken out multiple times, right, when the Kyrie Irving thing happened. And had a rabbi on, NBA Today, when the George Floyd thing, murder happened, another. Yeah. So I say all this to say, and ESPN, let's remember, is under Disney. It's very important as well. So her lawsuit was against ESPN and Disney. But I think finally, she said in her tweet, she said that finally she can have, her right to kind of voice her opinions and speak. And I think we're in a world now where, it used to be sports personalities, and that's kind of, I think, sports personalities used to just spit the facts. We're now, because of social media and the advent thereof of it, you're able to put your opinion out there. But the caveat is, just because it's your opinion doesn't mean you're going to be protected. Exactly. That's why many people say, the views on this page are not those of my employer. You'll see that in a lot of people's pages. So all in all, just to sum it up, Sage still had different opinions than many at ESPN. It caused friction with her relationship with them. She felt she got unfairly treated. And as of such, she can just think about it, getting a severance payout or whatever you want to think about it. And now she'll be free to spread her wings and go on to whatever she wants to go do next, which I'm sure will be announced very soon.
Right. So I wonder if she would, if she's going to possibly do a podcast. This is just me thinking, or she said, going somewhere where she could speak freely, Fox News. I mean,
the one that a lot of people are whispering, about her potentially joining.
It's also very interesting that she does not like to identify as Black, but she got treated like one in so many words. And when I say that,
that's a word. That's a message.
You do understand what I'm saying.
I completely get what you're saying. Yep.
You thought you were this person, and I don't want to. It is black and white. I guess I have to say that, because my problem that I have with her, because I know she has a problem identifying as as Black. But when Barbara Walters asked her, how does she identify? And then she said, well, President Obama identifies, and I'm just paraphrasing, as a Black man. And she seemed to get offended and was like, it's interesting, he wants to be identified as a Black man, but his father didn't want to have anything to do with him. Why? That was kind of like a shot. And
friction, right, with how people felt about her as well. Correct.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's messy though. So I hate it, because I think she's somebody that was held, so high, and you hate to see anything get to a lawsuit point. And ESPN tried to have the lawsuit dismissed. I think that's also important to note, 2 months after she filed it. But basically, she said that she was removed from broadcast, that co-workers were allowed to be forgo appearing with her, right, because they didn't agree with her and didn't want to be associated with her. And then basically, she just basically felt like they wanted her to issue an apology, and that casting casting basically, considerations and decisions. So basically who you see on camera, were not protected by her expression. So basically, again, just the unfair treatment. That's what she's claiming. I think you can look at them. ESPN has had a lot of different things happening as of late. The media industry is changing, but this was a big story. There's so many comments, Sonia, on her post when she announced. She definitely became a controversial figure, I'll say that, at ESPN, especially during the latter part of her tenure there.
And one more thing about this, we talked about all the shakeup that was going down at ESPN when we were together in Birmingham. And it's amazing how that wasn't really, well, I guess they couldn't really do anything because of the lawsuit. So they had to tread lightly with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just, but I think they hurry up probably was like, let's go ahead and settle this now because they're making room for other, I guess, other commentators and analysts
to come through. And I think that's why people have to understand, you just said it. When you're into legal matters, it doesn't usually move quickly. It doesn't move. And this has been going on, for a little while now. And she was able, like I said, still able to do Sports Center. If you're a golf person, you remember she did Masters golf tournament coverage and the PGA Championship, of golf. She's a fan of golf. I think maybe one of the only positives tweets I saw, her brother Chad Steele, who actually works here in Baltimore with the Ravens, said, "I'm proud of you," and they put the hashtags, still strong. But overall, like I said, just a lot of reaction, a lot of people expecting her to go to a more right-wing network or conservative network kind of next, where she's able to express her opinions. But I think something this is so important for young people to realize, like, you can have an opinion, you can put it out there, but it doesn't mean it's not going to have consequences. And I think that's very important for people to know. Yes, you have freedom of expression, but that doesn't mean that protects you, from honestly just a lot of different things. Because your employers are watching.
Right. Yeah. I would love to say a lot of things about the company I work for, but that's not going to happen. And plus, I grew up in a different era. Social media was not a big thing in my life. We didn't have that, number one. And number two, I have several HR friends on my page, so I would never do that. But yeah, it is a lesson. I hope they learn. So we will see, but we will keep our eyes and ears on this story because I'm sure it will still be booming at some point, figuring out where she's going to go. So
for sure.
So also this past weekend was the 2023 NBA Hall of Fame inductions. Pretty exciting for me because Dirk Nowitzki was one of them. I sang for the Dallas Mavericks for 14 seasons, singing the national anthem. So that's my secondary team.
Oh, that's amazing. So
it was Tony Parker, Dirk, Dwayne Wade, Becky Hammond, Coach Popovich, and the 1976 women's swim team, Olympic swim team. So congratulations to all of them. A great class, I believe. But one of the stories that really caught my attention in my heart, first of all, I love how Dwayne Wade always gives Allen Iverson AI love. And the tribute he gave. Tell us about that.
I think Dwayne Wade really stole the night, for so many reasons. He talks about that part, and we all love AI, let's be honest. Just his family being there, I thought was so special. Especially all the family portraits and pictures and just the way he's continued to support Zaya. And I think even more so, though, what stole the night was the tribute to his father. He said,
"Oh my gosh, I cried.
We did. It was so beautiful.
When he brought him on the stage with me. Oh,
that stole the night.
That stole the night.
It was beautiful. And it was a beautiful night, but it was just like you felt that.
You felt
that. Like all the years of hard work and all that they've been through. Remember, a parent, he knows Dwayne's story from the beginning, until end. And I think that's so, so important. I thought that was the moment of the night. I think, honestly, I would love to see Black fathers, in a better light overall with their Black sons. And I thought that's exactly what that did. Because I think we both know, unfortunately, too much of a negative narrative is, put around it. But, the NBA, I think, does it right. Like, they highlight Black fathers and Black sons, so well. So you just saw Dwayne, so full of emotion. Like, even when he shouted out Gabby, it was beautiful. just her being there. But like that father-son moment, I don't know if there's anything stronger than that.
I
So
cried. It was amazing. I totally agree. And I like how he thanked everyone that has been in his corner. And, and I knew I was thankful he didn't, of course he wasn't going to add Gabby to the first crew, but I appreciate how he honored all his family and friends, his mom, his dad. But like you said, the highlight for me was the tribute to AI and then to his father. When he said, "We in the Hall of Fame," it was just like, oh my God.
It was so special. It was so special. And something they'll forever get to cherish, for a long time. It's going to be a very special memory for the Wade family. So congrats, D-Wade. I think everybody was just super excited. It was a hell of a class, but he definitely did and ran with it.
I mean, hell of a class. I mean, and what was I about to say? Dang it. So, Dwayne is a 3-time NBA champion. He had a stellar career. I'm so excited for him. And I know, and going back to AI, he was inducted in 2016 in the Hall of Fame, and we didn't get a lot of AI. It was so much more that he had to give us, but with circumstances in his personal life and everything, it did not give us that. But I'm hoping and wishing, because he is definitely a fan favorite, a player's favorite. And I'm hoping that
we all love AI.
Yeah, he's not done with basketball. He's not done. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm ready for the next chapter in his life. I really, really am.
Yeah, I think the quote, Sonia, that stole the show, when he's talking about Allen, he said, "Our heroes are not always perfect. Instead, they possess a relatability that makes them touchable and real." When anyone speaks about Allen Iverson, that's exactly what they say. And Allen Iverson is someone who's been getting a lot of praise for his work post-basketball, being in the community, being present, and being there. So I'm like you. I thought it was beautiful to see. And you really see the brotherhood of the NBA on full display.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Well, Kelsey, before we go, we play our game. You can get with this and you can get with that. And that's a way for us to get to know the guests better. I'll ask you a few questions and you choose the one that best fits you, okay? All right. Would you rather be an extra in an Oscar-winning movie or the lead in a box office bomb?
I'll be an extra in an Oscar winner, because I'm walking around everywhere saying, "Yeah, I'm an Oscar winner, y'all." Oscar winner, changing the bio and everything.
Absolutely. Would you rather travel the world for free for a year or have $50,000 to spend however you want?
Yeah, I think. I like for sure money. I don't know. I don't trust the full free for a year. So
I want to travel.
I think give me the cash and money. I don't trust it, Tony. How can you travel free for a year? I need the disclaimer. I need the details.
You want to know? You want to know the check is in your hand, right?
I'm one of those people.
Exactly. I mean, not check the traveling. Would you rather hear a comforting lie or an uncomfortable truth?
Oh, definitely uncomfortable truth. I'm too old for lies, Sonia. I don't have time to investigate. I'm busy.
Even though she's a baby, but we're too old for that. Would you rather go back to the past and meet your loved ones who passed away, or go to the future to meet your children or grandchildren to be?
Tough one. But, I think for me, it'd definitely be my loved ones, from the past. So often we don't get to say the proper goodbye, and those are really motivate and push us. But for me, I would love to just, give one final goodbye, especially to my grandma's mom, and she rests in peace.
Amen. I agree with that. Would you rather have to hunt and gather all your food to eat, or eat McDonald's for every meal?
McDonald's, y'all. My worst class in physical education was probably archery. So me hunting and gathering is probably not going to work out, which means I'm going to be hungry. I don't like to be hungry. I'll play around with McDonald's menu. Give me a frappe one day, give me iced coffee, get some nuggets, a kid's meal. I'll figure it out. We'll play around.
You'll figure it out. Would you rather have,
I said at the 3 for $1 cookies.
Exactly.
You got some stuff on the menu.
Would you rather have fortune or fame?
Oh, that is a good one. I think I would I'd probably say fame because I'm very big into legacy. What we do in life echoes in eternity, and I think fame would mean I could leave a better legacy for hopefully to inspire somebody else. But I don't know, that's the hard one because fortune I can give back to the community and do well. So I don't know, but I guess I'll go with my first answer.
Well,
I'm just saying fame for legacy purposes.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. Would you rather be stranded in the jungle or in the desert?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm sweating now as it is. So I don't know if I can do the desert, but the jungle has a lot of unknown like species.
And there's nothing there. No.
Yeah. So maybe I'll find me a cactus and give me some water, I guess.
Yeah.
And just hope somebody finds me.
I'm going to the jungle. I can get in the tree.
I can't do snakes and stuff, Sonia. I can't do the
I can't either, but it's too hot. Last one. Would you rather be invisible or be able to fly?
Height. I am going to say, give me invisibility, and I would be up in all y'all conversations.
Oh, that's how you really feel?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, that's what it was. So let me be invisible and be a fly on the wall.
I love it. Kelsey, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Please tell the listeners how they can follow you on social media and listen to your show.
For having me. I am on social media, The Real K Nelson. Check out my website, KelseyNicoleNelson.com. Check out my podcast website, listeninwithknn.com. You can listen to it anywhere you get your favorite podcast. So excited to be coming back late August, early September with all and brand new episodes. I have an amazing guest lineup. So please be sure to download again, Listen In with KNN on Fox Sports Radio. So appreciate you, Sonia. Always
awesome.
A good time with my Mississippi set.
Exactly. Well, girl, I'll see you next month. Have a wonderful week, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. See me here. Have a great one. Bye, guys.
And guys, you can follow me at She Say Sports on Facebook, She Say Sports 23 on Instagram, and please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Say Sports. Well, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia and Kelsey's Corner, and we'll see you next time on She Say Sports.
Bye, guys. Great one.